Today I'm making this video. I haven't made a video in a while, but this is a public service announcement about the video game industry. I was watching this video from Dark Space, and they made a video called Rockstar Games Content Updates. And they was talking about a minute and 46 seconds. They was asking the question like, why do these games take so long to come out? You know, it's just a whole bunch of other questions. And so here's I made like a long list. I take it they read it because they responded. This is the thing about Rockstar Games, or just we'll take Rockstar Games. Rockstar Games, like all non-GTA titles, Max Payne, Bully, Red Dead Redemption, they're nothing but serious beta tests for Grand Theft Auto. It's for them to get the money and funnel it into Grand Theft Auto, and so they could test out certain things. Now, we all hear in the community that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to take place in Miami. Red Dead Redemption 2 had a swamp. I can't remember the name of the location, but wherever the swamp area is, that's just to test out where the alligators would be, how they would respond, how the swampland is. It's just going to be on a bigger scale for GTA 6. Of course, they made the story about like what happened prior to the original Red Dead Redemption. You know, just to say like, oh, this is where John got his scars. This is like where Javier, Bill, like how did they turn into bad guys? Spoiler alert, if you didn't see, you played Red Dead Redemption 1. What I didn't, but I played 2, unfortunately. But anyway, but it's just a serious beta test. That's all it is. It's just with the veneer of like an actual story, but to test out everything else. Like I said, like the graphics, the game mechanics, the materials. That's all it is. For one of the dudes was saying like, how come Red Dead Redemption don't get all these updates? It's just, I'm not an employee of Rockstar Games. I'm doing my own thing with my own shit, but I'm not like an employee. But you have to think, if they could have update, like they could have made some serious shit for Red Dead Redemption, but it was like, in my conjecture, they never planned on making like serious like comparative GTA updates for Red Dead Redemption 2. They did what they had to do. They got the money. They got as much money as they can out of it and test out the game. And then that's it. It's not gonna, because okay, like the game is set in 1899. There's only so far you can take that shit. Like you can't buy anything like significant. Like, okay, they made like so many horses in the game. In GTA, you could make so many cars. You could even come up with other shit. The only thing that they could add in Red Dead Redemption 2 is like a zebra. I mean, nobody rides zebras, but they have the twist logic to add something new and just say like that Harriet chick or somebody, that natureless thing DLC. It's like, oh, you could have the ability to tame a wild zebra and ride it, and it's like slightly faster than other horses. That's the only thing you could do, and come up with like different variants that look like they could be in 1899 for certain guns. That's about it. Like you can't add like a mini skirt for the women because the mini skirt came out wasn't in the 60s, so you couldn't do that in 1899. There's only so far you can go in a game set in that time period. That's why it's the way it is. So, and then you got to think about it. You got Rockstar. a game that made like how many billions, like over $7 billion off of GTA 5. They have the money and resources to just come up with different studios all over the world and have them work on certain like DLCs for Red Dead Redemption or certain games like Bully, Max Payne. But it's like, if they have all that money, you would think they would do something like that. But like I said, they never planned on taking Red Dead Redemption as far as Grand Theft Auto, because that's not the purpose of the game. That's just not the purpose of it. It's just a cash grab and just to test out a whole bunch of shit. And so one of the things like they was talking about, I mean, there's no shade on Deep Space. I'm just telling you how it is. Like for the most part, like, you know, they obviously cared about Red Dead Redemption. I'm not saying they didn't, but like I said, it's just, it feels like it's a serious beta test. You could even see with the Cayo Perico heist, that itself was clear evidence that it's like we expand on the thing on GTA just to test out like how it's like a social experiment, like people, like how would they feel if we expanded the map and what we were going to do, to see how far we could push the engine or how far we could push like certain things. That's basically, I mean, that was clear evidence right there that they was going to do like something like as serious as that. Like that was it right there, to make like a serious like beta test, like as Cayo Perico, like it was, they took it serious. But like this is all like setting up the stage to do stuff even bigger for Grand Theft Auto 6. And then you have like the dude was talking about like why it takes so long. Like for me, for instance, like I got a lot of stuff like that I did by myself. Stuff in the Unreal Engine, stuff in this program. And I'm just one dude doing all this. But you have like a team of people. But the longest thing, the thing that takes the longest in making a game is the voice acting, because you have to voice act all the pedestrians, you know, the main characters. You got to do all this other stuff. Then it has to be coded. And from what we all heard is that GTA 6 is going to like update itself through time. Like the world is going to be a dynamic world. Meaning like if it's set in the 80s and it spans to like from the 80s to current day, certain buildings are going to be updated. That has to be coded. You have to code the traffic, the pedestrians. Now, everybody always asks or wants the pedestrians to have routines. So don't you think the pedestrians or the world is going to have more routines than GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2? Now, this is what people want, but then when they ask, like, where's this game at? It's like, this is most likely the reason why. Because you want them to have routines, but then if they came out and they just had basic routines, they'd be like, oh, we want to follow the NPCs to the house and we want to do all this. So now, if this is the reason why, this is the reason why, because they have to code all this stuff, and you know it's going to have like certain things that happen in the daytime, the evening, night. This is most likely why, you know, they have to up. Then it's like they was working on, and we know they was working on this game for like at least 8 years. Probably the day or week after GTA 5 came out. So you know they had like a certain set of game mechanics like in 2016. Then they probably like not scrapped it, but came up with like updated it for like 2018. Then Then they probably did something like now. And then you had the pandemic on top of that, so that kind of pushed things back a little bit, but you could only use that excuse for so long. So certain things have to be updated. And then you don't want GTA 6 to come out in the shape that Cyberpunk 2077 came out in. Like it was buggy and glitchy. So they have to like fine tune the coding for these games. So it's just like it's like they keep like people on YouTube ask these questions but not see the evidence right in front of their faces. Like I said, like Red Dead Redemption, it's a nice game. Like how they made the world. So don't you think if it's set in Miami, they're going to expand this swamp even bigger. The materials, it looks good in Red Dead Redemption 2. So don't you think in GTA 6 it's going to be on a whole nother level? And then they have routines like in Red Dead. So and then it's like you have to make these pedestrians not adapt, but they have to live in a city-like environment. Not like Red Dead Redemption has barely anything there, and they just, walk around. They may say hello to you, nice horse or whatever. Like, this is going to be on a whole nother level. So, and then another YouTuber brought up the fact that GTA, like the pedestrians are going to have more movement than the previous Rockstar titles. So that's going to be crazy. And then what was the physics thing? Euphoria or whatever the physics engineers. They had to update that. Because certain people are going to get shot in the leg or the arm, or they get hit so many times they crawl on the ground, they try to shoot back or try to get up while they get shot. You could kind of see that in Red Dead Redemption. How if they get shot so much, they will start like walking away from the battle, but then they die. Like it's going to be on a whole nother level. But it's like, why you not saying why they asking these questions, but like you could clearly see what the deal is with some of this stuff. You could clearly see the deal. So, and then the whole thing about single player versus online. Like, if you make a single player game, you make more money online than the actual single player. Because single player, you're going to get your money from the one thing. But if you have online, you could constantly keep making money off of updates. I mean, making the thing doesn't take that long to actually make like certain objects in the game, like clothes or whatever, because all they do is basically like, okay, say if this axe, this is the axe, and this is one of them, and everybody can see it's gray. Say if I made this blue, I could duplicate all this, no effort after I made this, which took the effort, but after I made it, I could just duplicate it, change it red, and then just put a value on it, say like, oh, it's 99 cents to buy this. And then that 99 cents, depending on how many millions of people play my game, is going to add up and make money. Like if 1 million people buy this red axe, I made $1 million if I set it to 99 cents or whatever the value I set to it. Instead of single player where you just pay the $60 and that's it. But they have to hook you with a good story for the single player, which is cool. You got a single player game, it's a good story, that's what's up. But then you make online, it expands on the single player. And if you like the product, you're gonna buy into it if they have like a currency thing, like Grand Theft Auto has shark cards, Watch Dogs Legion, they have like crypto or whatever. You know, if you like that world, you're gonna, you know, support the game. Like, there's nothing wrong with that until like these companies start making like these insidious like type value systems that don't add up. Like then it becomes a problem when you like monetize every little thing. But if it's like usually cosmetic and you set the value to like 99 cents, like $5, or a value pack for $10 or $20, and you get like I don't know, so many items, you know, it's not bad. But if you do like some like crazy shit, like an outfit is $30 like in real world money, then it's like, bro, it just gets crazy. But but that's just how it is. I mean, single player is cool, but when you got like capitalism and companies want to make more money, that's what the shit is online. I mean, all the people that's asking for this stuff, they would do the same thing. They would do the exact same thing. But since like me, for instance, like I'm popping up these weapons now, and you see like these characters. Like if I had a studio, like I already did most of the work. So like my single player stuff would be like, it would be on a different level. But regardless of that, but that's why these that's why they did what they did. Like I said, Cayo Perico it was just an excuse to expand GTA's map for the future and the beta test. Like I said, Cayo Perico was the biggest aha type thing they did. Because it was just like, you know what I mean? Like it was like the biggest thing of expansion on GTA. I mean, because it came out, like 2020, I think. And so they expanded it after all these years. And another thing that people got to understand, these companies, how could I say this? They rarely pay attention to the actual player base. This goes for a lot of things, even certain industries. If they have, like, we'll say this, I'm a game company, or I'm a company. I want to produce or make product A. But then the consumer base is asking for product B. I'm going to come out with A anyway, because I got people behind me saying this product A is going to make the most money. Product A is what we want to come out with. So I'm going to come out with product A. People wanted B, it kind of doesn't matter. Like, we heard you, but we wanted to put out product A anyway, even though you was asking for B. But the second scenario is, I want to come up with product A, whatever that is. But then the consumer base, they wanted product A, or asked for something similar to what we had in mind already. People was like, yeah, we want product A. We put out product A, and the consumer base is like, see, they're listening to us, even though we already wanted to come up with product A anyway. So it's not the fact that we listened to the consumer base. We already had this in mind. But since it's like the consumer base had not an educated guess, but they guessed right. Like, we wanted product A, we put out product A, and it's like, see, this said company, they're listening to our demands, even though we was gonna do it anyway. So that's like that's what the deal is with this shit. But it's just like people just constantly keep asking these questions. Like, I'm working on my own game. I'm not in said video game industry because I'm just a dude by myself in my house making my own game. But at the same time though, I will have more of an insight than the average YouTuber just sitting there playing games and just guessing about why these companies are doing what they're doing, or why they won't listen to the community, or certain, or whatever the case is. Because I like, and then on top of that, I've been playing games since December 25th, 1989. I have 3 decades and some change over some dude that's like 27 years old or in their 20s, or like their first console was like the PlayStation 2 or something. Like, I could see certain games where they go wrong at. Like, I'm not encoding, but making the game and playing games for so long, you see certain stuff like, oh, they should have done this. This isn't right. Or like, how come you do a move to a character, like you do like a move, like an attack, but then it's like the enemy has this special cutscene where they have to do what they do and cancel out your shit just to hit you. Or like they do an attack and it follows you wherever you go, and it's like you have to get hit. Like, why is this happening? Like, it's certain shit like that. Like I see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see certain things. So it's just like it's stuff like that. But this is the reason why these games and whatnot do what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is exactly why they do what they do. So to ask, like, I mean, Deep Space, like, they make good videos, like, talking about Grand Theft Auto, but at the same time, like, you have to kind of like be more, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not conscious of it, but perceptive of certain things that these companies do. Like, this is what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're asking, like, why is this taking so long? Like, just think about all the stuff that people have been asking for, like the routines for certain night and day cycles. Because like even with Grand Theft Auto, I mean, you gotta do certain things, like, we'll say like the horse, for instance, how you could like put weapons in your satchel or whatever. It's going to be the same thing with the horse. I mean, it's going to be the same thing with the car. Like, you could only have so many weapons. Peep this. I think starting from the casino heist, they limited how many weapons you have, because they limited how many weapons you could hold in Red Dead Redemption 2. Then with the last update, the LS track meet, or the tuners update, when you do like the main contact missions, they limited how many weapons you have. It's going to be the same thing in GTA 6. Like, you can't just pop a weapon wheel and just pull out a minigun. You got a rocket launcher. You got like a combat MG. You can only hold probably like a handgun and a Uzi. If you want a heavy weapon, you're gonna have to go to the trunk of your car just to get that. And you probably, like, after, you can only hold that thing because it's so big, and they'll give you a handgun. But you can't have like a minigun plus a combat MG. You can only choose one or the other. Like how you have to feed your horse, because I remember a long time ago back in Vice City, it was always this rumor that they wanted to add the fact that you could get gas in, like you could put gas in your car, but they never did it. Not only you can feed your horse in Red Dead Redemption, they're going to use the feeding the horse as you feeding the car gas. They already, in one game, Days Gone, they already have like a gas mechanic in that game. So it's not going to be like far-fetched or surprising when they do it in GTA 6 because of that reason. You know, because this is always like this realistic shit, even though certain aspects of it, you got to suspend disbelief, but want to be realistic at the same time in a video game. But anyway, so you're going to have to do stuff like that. Then you got Red Dead Redemption. There's like 4 different currencies in this game. There's the money, gold bars, those blue tokens, and capitale that everybody likes. Everybody don't like the capitale, but whatever. You got 4 different currencies. Grand Theft Auto, they had money. Then, what was the second currency? The casino chips. Don't be surprised when they do another casino, or they're going to have different currencies. If it's set in modern time, they're going to have cryptocurrencies in that. They're going to make several different currencies. Don't be surprised if cryptocurrency is one of them. Because if it's set in modern time, or they're going to be cryptocurrencies, NFCs or some shit, you know, Bitcoin or whatever, the Dogecoin, whatever the fuck it's called, they're going to have that in there. Because they're going to have to have it comparative to money, gold, blue tokens, capitale. That's exactly what they're going to do. It's going to be something similar to that. So, this is what they do. I mean, it's not like I'm a Rockstar employee or nothing. But it's just like, you could see where they're going with certain shit like this. So, like I said, this is my PSA. And then you gotta think, some of these games are in development hell sometimes. You know, like they probably wanted to go one way with the story, but then the creator was like, oh, fuck this, I want to do something else. And they're gonna have to change it. And then if the studio is in a process of making these games, then they gotta stop what they do, go back and fix this and change certain stuff around. Like it's a whole thing. Like say like this character for instance. Like say if, even though this is like minute in comparison, but like if I wanted to change his hair or something, I'll have to go back and change his hair. And especially if I already had like even though I sculpted the skin on, or like the skin pores on him, but like he doesn't have no material. Like where he actually look like he's like flesh colored or whatever. Like I would have to change like, oh, he should have freckles here. Then I gotta go into the UV map and like texture paint freckles on him or whatever, like skin blemishes or some shit like that. Like that's gonna take time because the story is he got fucked up somewhere and part of his face got fucked up, so it's like, but in the original his face wasn't fucked up, but now the writer said his face should be fucked up, so I gotta change that. Like it could be a whole different thing. Or like this game is supposed to be set in the 80s, but oh no, wait a minute, halfway through we gotta set it in modern time. Then it's like, oh no, we gotta change the building, change certain stuff around. This isn't there no more, we gotta get rid of that. It's just a whole thing, like stuff that they have to scrap just to fit around the script. I mean, it's just literally a whole thing. But like I said, for like anybody asking or wondering, like this is from a dude who's actually, you clearly see me doing this shit. Like This is me making my own game with my own characters, making my own manga. And if anybody comes across me on Twitter or YouTube, which is like Brogito on YouTube, BROGETTO, or Instagram, Brogito D36. Like, if you're wondering why everything is always like, there's no like textures on my characters, it's because I had to stop and make my own comic book to it. I had to like do part 2. So this is like for my own thing that I'm telling people. Like, I had to stop this to continue working on my comic book. But like I said, this is the reason why these games take so long. Like I said, especially with acting and coding. Because you got to act all these characters out. You got to act all the pedestrians. You got to do like a whole bunch of shit. You know what I'm saying? You got to do a lot. But anyway, that was my thing. I mean, maybe these dudes could get back to me at Deep Space. I mean, Dark Space. Why was I calling them? It's Dark Space. My bad. I was calling them Deep Space. Their YouTube channel was Dark Space. But yeah, the dudes at Dark Space, like I said, they make some good videos about Grand Theft Auto, but I'm just explaining what the deal is instead of just keep asking these same questions. And then they've been asking these same, like, it's fucked up that certain game companies don't communicate with their like constituents and their like player base, but at the same time though, it's like, why should we if you're gonna buy our products anyway? Like, that's like a fucked up attitude, just being so quiet and not wanting to say nothing to anybody. But like, when Grand Theft Auto, like, Rockstar could literally put out a 10-second trailer where it just has the Rockstar logo and then it fades like into like the Roman numeral 6. People would lose this shit and be so hyped over a 10-second trailer. They don't have to say nothing. That 10-second trailer alone would shut everybody up. And everything that everybody want, they'd be like, let's fucking go. Let's go, bro. Let's go. And doing all that goofy shit. That's all they need to do. And all the people that's complaining about Rockstar, I mean, like Grand Theft Auto versus Red Dead Redemption, the conversation's over with. Just have the Rockstar logo fade into the Roman numeral 6 and it's done. No, you can't say nothing. And then, like I said, obviously they've been making this game for for years. So it's not like you have to ask these questions like, are they making GTA 6? When is GTA, like the biggest thing is like, when is GTA 6 coming out? But just to keep asking, are they making GTA 6? That's a ridiculous question, because they've been doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, just think. Like I said, I'm one dude. I have over 200 and like at least over 250 characters. I probably have, like, the last time I checked, I had like over 50 weapons, and I'm one dude. Now just think a studio with 400 people in it. You see what I'm saying? And then they have like those like high definition cameras where they have the actor sit in, take the picture from the neck up. You know, they have those high definition cameras to get into the pores of the skin, and they got a team that's like routinely that work on these games masterfully, like just they know what they're doing. Instead of me last year learning how to do this and already got more characters than most game companies combined. But they've been doing this, like, you know, with the subsurface scattering. Like, they know how to do this shit with the nodes and connecting all this shit. They know exactly what they're doing. They don't have to learn nothing really. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, you got the human factor, where you got actors got to learn their lines and they got to say this and it's on some schedule. You know, they mess up. Certain things got pushed back. They got to find the actors. They got to do all this shit. Then you got the coders. They got to match like certain things, like, okay, these characters say this at this certain time, or they react to this person at this area, whatever. Like, that stuff takes time. That takes a lot of time. That, in my honest opinion, that takes the most time. You know, like me making characters, like I already had like I said, over 200 something characters in basically a few months. Weapons, like, you know, between January, when was that? January 11th to like 2021, I got all this shit. Like I said, I got my terrains in the Unreal Engine, you know, with my own world. That's like the easy part. Like when I don't have to make a one-to-one creation of like a thing. Since I'm making my own planet, I could just almost do whatever I want to. It has to fit in the game world, but it's like I don't have to make like the Appalachian Mountains look exactly like the Appalachian Mountains. I could just make a mountain, make it playable, there you go. And then add the materials on it, which I already got. But just, you know what I'm saying? But if it's like set in Miami, then that's a thing, because they gotta make the city look like Miami, but they're not gonna make every single building in Miami or wherever. Like if it's a real world location, it's not gonna be a one-to-one creation. It's just gonna give the illusion like that. And then they have to figure out what buildings they're gonna add to it, what they're not. And you know, people going to be like, oh, we should put this in there, we shouldn't put that in, why not? And it's just going to be a back and forth. They got to compromise. It's just a whole thing. You know, then you got the dude, or who, like dude, man, woman, or whatever, like drawing up drafts of what they want to do. And then they got to submit the drafts to the person that's making the 3D models. It's just a whole thing, dude. So, for Dark Space, I hope this video answers the questions. But like, for dude to be asking about Red Dead Redemption, I don't want to be saying like get off of it. But it's like at the same time, like I said, they if they really wanted to make Red Dead Redemption have the same updates and DLCs comparative to Grand Theft Auto, they would have done it already. So that goes to show you they really never planned on it to be like taken this far, like having like properties to buy. Like there's nothing really for like the player base to get. Like, think of the buildings in Red Dead Redemption. Where would people go? Like a mass group of people set up in a location. Where you have Grand Theft Auto 5, you have apartments. People look like even on like everybody's basically in the community shares so many apartments. But it gives the illusion that somebody's on whatever floors. Red Dead Redemption, they don't have apartments. Like everybody can't share the same mansion, which is Angelo Bronte's or some like Saint Denis type location. Like it's not enough to do certain stuff in Red Dead Redemption. Like in 1899, it's just not that much to really do. Or like a hot air balloon, or like we should have like yachts or something. Like it's not enough to justify it. I mean, they should have done a lot of things with Red Dead Redemption. They should have done a lot of things with Red Dead Redemption. But they're not. I'm not even gonna say like I'm not even gonna say what they should do either. Cause I mean, I have my ideas what they should have done, but like I said, they're just not gonna do it. Cause they would have done it already. And if they wanted to jump the shark, this and it wouldn't be that stretch of an imagination, but since it's going for more realism, they wouldn't do this anyway. It should have been a steampunk type thing, but you know what I'm saying, to put more spice in the game or make it more interesting and fun. I mean, like I said, Red Dead Redemption, the acting, the musical score, the story, the writing, that's Oscar level shit. But it's just the gameplay is boring. Red Dead Redemption could have basically been like, if it was like a Netflix series or like a movie or something, it would have been cool. But like when you asking the players that migrated from Grand Theft Auto 5, toned all the way down to 1899, which is not enough to do, it's just boring. But like I said, like the acting, the game, like the acting, the musical score, the writing, I mean, they even though like they don't get Oscars in the game industry, but I mean they should get Oscars for that shit, because it was acted brilliantly. The whole thing, just the gameplay itself, playing a game with a horse, there's no radio stations, you can't do nothing really. It falls apart. For me, it falls apart. Some people like it. No shade on the ones who do. But it's just, like I said, but that I hope this video clears up some shit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm done. I said everything I had to say. So when they come up with cryptocurrency for GTA 6 and they use the car to like store certain weapons in it, because like I said, you clearly see the evidence how they're restricting people's weapons ever since the casino heist with the Bitcoin, sneaky, and whatever the other one is, and aggressive. And then with the new contract missions to the tuners update, you see how they restrict your weapons. And you see how you put your, like, switch out weapons on your horse. They already had the mechanic to go into, like, the trunk of your car in GTA 4. But they took it out in GTA 5 for some odd reason. Like, for the pedestrians to, like, check the engine or, you know, trunk. It's not in 5. So, but when they do it for 6, it's not going to be hard, because they could just copy and paste the that program and just update it. You see what I'm saying? Like in like say if GTA 6, the main protagonist or protagonist could like eat, work out, you know, they have a dynamic like body type, where you could get skinny, fat, muscular. They already had it in San Andreas. So they could just take that, copy and paste, expand it on it. And don't sit up there and say, like, oh, they have to work on it from the ground up. Stop. Because in GTA 5, you see how the police operate. How they just basically just teleport kind of down the street from you and then come try to get you. It's the same thing in Red Dead Redemption. It's just the character models are different. Like, they look like Keystone Cops in Red Dead, but they look like the modern police in GTA 5. But the programs are very similar to each other. So they just copied and pasted from 5 to Red Dead Redemption 2, probably tweaked it a little bit, but it wasn't really that much that they had to do. Like, when these companies be like, oh, we have to do all this stuff, and we had to hand put the different trees and different spots, and we had to work so hard. Don't believe that. It's a thing called foliage. Like, in the Unreal Engine, it's called a foliage spawner, where you set certain bushes and trees in a certain parameter, change the radius and density. They're not hand putting trees and bushes in certain places. The only way they would do that, if it's like I want a tree to bend, but the other tree next to it isn't. So I'm gonna have to turn the thing on the Z axis or whatever the case, whatever axis it is, to make it look different. But to do like a mass area, they're not hand stamping bushes anywhere. It's just foliage spawners. Like, here we go. Each bush got a different radius from the next bush, or if it's random, it sets a random spot. Boom, there you go. You see what I'm saying? I mean, this, and especially at this day and age, I'm not saying like making a video game is like easy, but it's easier than it was like 10, 20 years ago. You see what I'm saying? And then it's like the graphics are better. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just an easier, like, it's a more easier process than it was before, where you don't have to like do like real hard work. And then especially if you got like an engine, you already got the previous materials in the engine where you could reuse in the same game, like Grand Theft Auto. Like, they've been using the Rage engine for a while. You like GTA 4 to GTA 5. Like, obviously they expanded on it, but they have some like the same like materials from 4 to 5, and they just update them, or they subdivided them, you know, for the system that can handle it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain let me try to go into this character. Case in point. This is good topology for this character. If you subdivide them too much, the system will lag. Because the system can't handle all these squares, like if it's just a lot, because the mesh is too dense. So you have to, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time though, like, you have to update them from the previous game to the new one, but you can't push it too far. It's stuff like that. But since the PlayStation 5 got SSD drive, they can't use, the game companies can't use certain excuses. They can't use them anymore. to a certain degree. But that's what's up though. But like I said, this is my PSA into certain questions that people may have, instead of just guessing and making a YouTube video about it. Like, this is a dude that you're listening to that's actually putting something together. I hope this answers some questions. But I'm out.